So let's start the other kingdom, that is kingdom fungi. We have written some specific features of kingdom fungi. They are heterotrophic organisms. Basically they are also when we are talking that when they live in association, we know that they live in association with algae, right? So why they live in association with algae? Because algal partner will provide food to them and they will provide shelter, right? So that's how we conclude that fungi are heterotrophic in mode of nutrition. They don't prepare their own food. Their hyphae is somehow thread-like structures like this. Thread-like structures are there, right? And they're entangled together, right? These structures are entangled together, right? When a network of hyphae, as we can say that this is an entangled structure of multiple hyphae, so this is known as mycelium, right? A single thread-like structure is known as hyphae, single thread-like structure is known as hyphae, and the complete network of hyphae, multiple hyphae, is known as mycelium. The mycelium, they are multinucleated, that means they have multiple nuclei, right? Which is also known as syncytic hyphae. Syncytic hyphae, right? Their cell wall is made up of chitin. We have read this in table as well, classification table as well. Their cell wall is made up of chitin and polysaccharides. They are cosmopolitan. That means they can grow anywhere, especially in warm, hot and humid areas, right? Damp places. They grow in especially damp places, right? Let's come to fungal mode of nutrition. Fungi shows, because they are heterotrophic in nature, so they specifically show saprophytic mode of nutrition and parasitic mode of nutrition, right? They live in symbiotic association with an algal partner or with the roots of higher plants. When they live in association with algae, that is known as lichen, and when they live in association with roots of higher plants, then that is known as mycorrhiza. With roots of higher plants. Right? So they can be saprophytic in nature and they can be parasitic in nature. And the third mode of nutrition is that they live in a symbiotic association with the other partner. So as the other partner will provide food to them and they provide shelter to that association, right? Example, Puccinia, which is also known as Beetrus, penicillin yeast, which is a unicellular fungus. Then we have fungal reproduction. Fungi reproduce through different modes, right? They can reproduce through vegetative formation. Vegetative propagation is there, right? In form of fragmentation. Fragmentation is that type of reproduction in which a single fragment can develop a complete individual, right? Fission is there, binary fission or multiple fission. Budding is there, that means an external bud will grow on the body of fungi and then that bud will detach from the body and will grow into a new individual. Then we have asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. In asexual, both sexual and asexual mode of nutrition, it has been done by spore formation, right? Asexual spores are there and sexual spores are there. Asexual spores such as Cornelia, sporangiospores, right? Zoospores. And sexual spores are oospores, ascospores, basidiospores. You have to memorize the name of these asexual and sexual spores. The question they can simply give you through this on this different types of spores. You have to recognize that what particular option is of asexual spores and the other is of sexual spores, right? So you have to memorize the name of sexual and asexual spores. then fruiting bodies are involved, obviously, right? Before spore formation, they develop a structure which is known as fruiting body, and on those fruiting bodies, no, spores are formed, right? So spore formation is only possible when fruiting bodies are there, right? So fruiting bodies is an initial step of spore formation, and then spores will be formed, whether it is a sexual spore or an sexual spore. Okay, got it? Then let's come to sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in fungi, no, it's somehow different, right? It contains 3 steps. First step is plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. Let us understand what is these, what these 3 steps say. Plasmogamy is the fusion of protoplast. Protoplast is somehow the material inside the cell, right? Matrix. It is the cell matrix, right? Protoplast is cell matrix. Right? Right? So plasmogamy, when the protoplast fuses, that is known as plasmogamy. Then karyogamy, it is the fusion of nuclei, and then meiosis, the formation of haploid spores. So these are the 3 steps which are involved in sexual reproduction of fungi. Plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. Plasmogamy is fusion of this protoplast, karyogamy is fusion of nuclei. That means first of all the matrix will get fused. If 2 cells are there, they are performing sexual reproduction, they are in the process of fusion. So their protoplast will fuse first, then the nucleus will get fused, and then meiosis will be there. That means the chromosomal number will get half, right? To form haploid spores. Right. Related to this sexual type of reproduction, we have one different stage that is known as dikaryon phase. Dikaryon phase, it's somehow that stage. See what happens in some fungi, plasmogamy and karyogamy, they are not followed immediately by each other, right? Plasmogamy is followed by karyogamy after a minute gap of time, right? And that gap in which that multinucleate situation is there, right? We say that in plasmogamy, protoplast has been fused, right? So that means there are 2 nuclei present inside that one protoplast, right? This stage will continue to go for a very short period of time before karyogamy, right? So in some fungi, plasmogamy is not immediately followed by karyogamy, right? There is a difference, there's a time period gap is there between plasmogamy and karyogamy. That multinucleated situation in which 2 nuclei are present in one cell, that is known as dikaryon phase, right? And this is found, not all fungi show such type of intermediate stage. Only two categories of fungi, Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. These are the 2 categories of fungi which shows this intermediate stage of sexual reproduction. Rest, there is an immediate follow-up of karyogamy by of plasmogamy by karyogamy, right? Let's come to the classes of fungi. 2 we have learned here only, Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. Other 2 are Phycomycetes and Deuteromycetes. Let's come to the first type of fungi, first category of fungi is Phycomycetes. See, the only important thing that you have to remember about different classes of fungi, it's the type of spores they are forming. What type of sexual and asexual spores they are using, right? Then Phycomycetes, they grow on dead wood, dead or decaying matters. They can be parasite, they can live on host body, and they can also live on dead or decaying matter, right? The asexual spores are zoospores and planospores, and sexual spores are zygospores. Example, Rhizopus, Albugo, and Mucor, right? examples are very important, right? Question will be given you that which fungi uses apnanospores for a sexual reproduction. Then you have to choose between these three, right? Then we have Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes are also known as sac fungi, and they have asexual spores as Conidia and sexual spores as Ascospores, right? And the examples are Aspergillus, Neurospora, Saccharomyces. Saccharomyces is the other name for yeast, right? We have heard yeast so many times. The biological name for yeast is Saccharomyces. It's a unicellular fungi. Claviceps, morels, and truffles. Morels and truffles are the edible fungi. These are the edible fungi. We can learn it as we eat the truffle pastry, truffle chocolate, truffle is there, bro. So truffles, they are, you can remember them somehow like this. So truffles and morels are edible fungi. Then Basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes, they are septal and branched mycelium. That means their mycelium will not be, unbranched. They are branched, they are divided, right? Sexual spores are Basidiospores, and the fruiting body is Basidium. This Basidium is fruiting body. We have discussed that what are fruiting bodies, right? So these are fruiting bodies. Asexual spores are absent. So this is one of the important points for Basidiomycetes, that they do not reproduce asexually because asexual spores are absent, right? Examples are Agaricus, Eustelago, and Puccinia. Then last we have Deuteromycetes, which is also known as imperfect fungi, right? Imperfect fungi is because their sexual stage is unknown. Sexual spores are not there, right? Sexual reproduction is not there. So that's why they are known as fungi imperfecta, right? They are, if the sexual spores has been somehow, in the future, if the sexual spores are identified, discovered in Deuteromycetes, then they will be classified as Ascomycetes or Basidiomycetes because they have so common features, right? Their examples are Alternaria, Trichoderma, and Trichum. Okay? Coledotrichum. So this completes your kingdom fungi. Now the last part of your chapter is viruses and viroids. What are viruses and viroids? See, there's a debate going on from very, past years, that whether the viruses are living or non-living. Let me tell you that viruses, they are non-living because two points are there. One important point is that they do not have plasma membrane as like the other living organisms, and secondly, they are living only when they enter the host body, right? Because once they enter the host body, they start multiplying themselves, right? They start replicating themselves. But before that, when they are not inside a host body, they are living on their own, then in that case, they will not be multiplying. Replication is not there. So they are the 2 points through which you can understand that viruses are non-living. First is they do not have plasma membrane, and other, they divide only when they enter into a host body, right? So viruses, it's non-cellular, inert, outside host, right? Firstly, Pasteur was the one who coined the term virus, and it was discovered by Ivanovsky, right? So you have to remember the name of the scientist who discovered virus, Ivanovsky, and who coined this word virus, Pasteur, right? They are the 2 different scientists who discovered and who named it as virus. Then it is Bejernik used one statement, that is contagion vivum fluid. That means it is a fluid through which it uses viruses. They uses a fluid which is contagious in nature. That means which is disease causing, right? So this contagious vivum fluid, this is the statement given by Bejernik, which says that viruses have fluid which is contagious in nature. That means they are disease causing. They are pathogenic in nature. And Stanley crystallized them. To know their structure more easily and deeply, it has to be crystallized. And who crystallized it? Stanley crystallized it. Okay? Now let's come to the structure of virus. You just have to understand that what are the different genetic compositions are there. Some viruses, they have DNA and some may have RNA, right? And also DNA and RNA can be single-stranded and double-stranded, right? Plant viruses, they have single-stranded RNA, right? Bacteriophage are those bacterias there who infect bacteria only, right? Viruses who infect bacteria are known as bacteriophages. They have double-stranded DNA, and viruses who infect animals, they can be single-stranded RNA, double-stranded RNA, or double-stranded DNA, but they cannot be single-stranded DNA, right? So these are the three important points about the virus structure that has to be memorized, right? Then they are made up of a protein layer, and that protein layer, they are made up of small capsids. Like, see, capsomere is somehow like this. Small structures will be there, right? These are the capsomeres. Capsomeres, right? These are the capsomeres. And these capsomeres will form complete capsid, which is a proteinous layer. It is one of the important feature of virus structure that they will have a protein layer which is known as capsid. Right? Let's come to the diseases which are caused by virus. Virus cause different type of diseases in humans, plants and bacteria. If you talk about humans, then mumps are there, right? Is a very common disease, right? That parotid glands, salivary glands, they get swelled up because of the viral infection. Smallpox, herpes, influenza, AIDS. They are the main viral diseases which are very dangerous. In plants, it causes mosaic formation, leaf rolling. Leaf will get rolled up, right? So that they cannot perform photosynthesis properly. Leaf rolling is there, yellowing of leaf is there. That means chlorophyll A, the pigment, will get reduced. Dwarfing, small size of leaf or plant. Stunted growth, that is also a kind of dwarfism only, right? That means the growth of plant will get hindered. Next we have voidoids. Voidoids are the infectious agents which have free RNA, right? They are the infectious agents which have free RNA. Somehow they are smaller in size than virus, right? They are smaller in size than virus. Smaller in size than virus, right? And they causes potato spindle tuber disease. They are discovered by T.O. Diner, right? Then at last we have lichens. Lichens, as I told you earlier, that this is a symbiotic association between algae and fungi, in which the algal partner will provide food because they are autotrophic in nature. So they will, through photosynthesis, they will produce food. But the fungal partner will provide shelter to them, right? So both of the partners, they are providing each other different necessities. That's why they live together in a symbiotic association, and that association is known as lichen. It has been written here. It is written here that algal partner will provide food, right? And fungi provide shelter and absorb nutrients, right? One of the important point is that they are pollution indicators. That means lichens are not found in those areas which are more polluted, right? Where there is more pollution, lichens will not be present in those areas. So they are considered as pollution indicators, right? So this completes your chapter biological classification, right? The question that generally arises is among the classification system, right? Be it Protista, kingdom fungi. These are the two things, and also kingdom Monera. These are the three things which are very important to memorize, right? From kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, and kingdom fungi. There are different kind of questions that can arise, and the only thing that you have to memorize is the classification characters, that on what characters the classification has been done, right?